starting your journey to financial freedom. Now. You're listening to the New Investor Podcast.
This is the Young Investor for the New Investor Podcast, and it is day 89 on our journey towards financial freedom. My hopes of acquiring more Apple shares at Q4 2018 price are slowly fading away, as it does seem another dialogue between China and the US is going to happen soon, bringing again the hopes up for a resolution of the trade war. As you could probably note, the S&P 500 closed more than 1% up following this news yesterday. Now, headline investing is a completely different approach, unpredictable, minute by minute, and very high risk, not for us young investors. At this stage of our investing journey, I feel it is better to stay structured and methodical, as the most difficult phase, I believe, is building the foundation that will allow us to continuously and systematically build wealth in the long term. In my earlier days as an expert consumer, I had a very different understanding of what building wealth required. I was convinced that it was not for me, but only reserved to a select few, reserved to the high net worth individuals. What I failed to understand is that a large portion of the select few did start exactly as I did. However, they developed a level of financial maturity and self-awareness much earlier than me. Now, creating wealth is as simple as spending less than you earn and investing those savings into stocks or other forms of instruments that you value and understand at the right time and at the right price. To make it easier, now, if you are looking at a 10-15 years down the line window, the right time is now and the right price is now, as the stock market and ultimately your investments will look a lot different in a decade or more, and usually way up. I will certainly not be able to value a company with an accuracy level down to the penny, and my investments are not substantial enough at this stage for a penny more or less to matter that much, in my opinion. So if I am off by $1 or $2, that's not really a big deal for me, and even the most astute investors have at times overpaid for stocks. However, they have done very, very well, just not as much as they could have done. So what? I am not motivated by greed, but rather by continuous improvement in whatever forms it comes. Everything is improving so far, personally, financially, professionally, and emotionally. And I have no doubt in my mind that this is all happening because I have created a purpose for myself, but also all of this compounded the day I have started my investing journey and flipped my lifestyle into one that makes absolute sense for me and which now supports a bright future, I believe. I had a look at the podcast stats this morning. How interesting to see that young investors are growing and that the subject of investing is of high interest. To all young investors, this is probably the best time in history to become an investor, as the access to the stock market and the ability to make investments were made easy for all only when the internet hit the scale we know today. Financial literacy will be hitting larger portion of populations around the world. The number of investors will substantially grow and at a very rapid pace. The investment you will make today are pennies compared to what a stock may cost to acquire once the number of investors around the world hits an all-time high. Offer versus demand. People do not spend as they used to. People are becoming conscious about their money and about the value of money. It is time that you do as well, and on your own. Do not entrust your money with a third party. Learn the craft. It is easier than you think. Now, I wish you a fantastic day ahead. Thank you for listening. By the way, feel free to DM me on Instagram at New Investor Podcast just to say hi. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I really hope that it brings you some additional support on your own journey towards financial freedom. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you stay updated with new episodes. It would mean a lot to me if you follow me on Instagram at the New Investor Podcast. And in the meantime, stay invested, be patient, and keep playing the long-term game.